Hello, welcome back to Media Snack live from New York.
And greetings from London.
We're back live. Great question. Thank you for the question. 2 weeks ago, we talked about what does a media director do? So we'll link to that. Really interesting. Had some very good feedback on that one. Thought it was time to talk about media procurement again. What does media procurement do? So we'll unpack some of that. We've had some amazing input on that, actually, haven't we? We've spoken to a lot of people. We'll talk about that in a second.
Fascinating.
And we'll give 3 tips that we've got for, or 3 or 4 tips from media, real good media procurement experts, all coming up on today's episode. Welcome to Media Snack, the live weekly show where we unpack the important questions that you will have about media, agencies, marketing, and more. If you're new to the channel, it's great to have you join us. Subscribe below to get alerts of all upcoming weekly episodes. Right. What does media procurement do? What's our question of the week? I should ask you that.
So the question is, what is the role of modern media procurement and how has that changed in the last couple of years?
Yeah, it has changed a lot. And I should say, I mentioned it just now, but we often reach out for some inputs and guidance from a good trusted circle of people that we think are great in the industry, who go uncredited, by the way. When we do Media Snack, I think we take all the credit. But we do ask for input. This is one where the role of media procurement has just evolved so rapidly.
Yeah.
And we know some really good media procurement we've been fortunate enough to work with or connect with. So there's a number of contributors to this episode who will remain nameless because everything was given under kind of confidentiality, but you know who you are, and thank you so much for your inputs. I hope we do this justice because it's been amazing inputs we've had. So we're just going to kind of unpack that question first off. Like, what does media procurement do? It's really important that everybody really understands that, because media procurement is now a real thing. It's not procurement having a go at media. There's media procurement now. It's different. And we'll just unpack that. And then you've had the pleasure of taking all of these amazing tips and try to kind of distill them down into some key 3 or 4 things. So if you're working in media procurement, or you're working in procurement and maybe looking at moving into media, or you're a media director, or you're an agency leader, and you really want to know what makes media procurement tick, then we might have the answer for you. Right, so let's just kind of unpack some of these things. So the first thing, which we just kind of hinted at, is the role has changed. And we often used to describe media procurement perhaps slightly unfairly, and they often get accused of being motivated by one thing, which what the answer is, and that's cost reduction or price. And that's a very limited view of what the role that media procurement plays these days. It might be that in some other categories there really is, it's more commodity driven, and maybe price is a really highly influencing factor, but it's different. The challenge from an agency leadership, if you're an agency CEO, you remember those days, and maybe you still have these experiences occasionally now, but it used to be the standard is that when your client walked through the door, through the revolving door of your fancy offices, and they come and visit you on occasion, the marketer would come through the door, or the media director would come through the door, often in one mindset, which was, look at this amazing resource I've got, to help me launch amazing campaigns and grow my businesses. And then maybe 2 steps behind them through the revolving door would be the procurement leader, who would be walking into an agency with a very different mindset, which is, this looks expensive, I'm going to cut some cost out of all of this. And as an agency CEO, you kind of, if you just kind of, we bring that to life, you're standing in the lobby of your building, you kind of have 2 clients. You have 2 different clients from the same company wanting really different things. The marketer wants growth and success, and the procurement, is coming, sniffing around to try and cut the costs. And that was a really difficult position to be in as an agency leader. Those days are maybe not entirely gone, but that's different now.
Yeah.
Our experience is that media procurement, they are coming in the door together with the media leader, and they typically have much better aligned objectives. And so they have an objective for the business that they share. That's where it really wins. And all of this comes down to alignment on objectives. You ask any decent media procurement leader, the secret of success, and they all say the same thing: align goals with your business leaders.
Yeah.
And that's so good to hear. So good to hear, because it's, you know, something that we've really, really, you know, wanted and trying to champion for years and years, is have media procurement aligned to business goals and aligned to growth goals. And we're hearing these media procurement leaders talk about media as an investment in growth. It's just amazing. So we love all this. In the past, procurement might have obsessed much more about risk, financial risk, and cost. What's different now is the language that they use is about growth and about capabilities. And they view agency as capability, which is really, really good. They don't see it as a cost to the business that they have to, you know, move downwards over time, and that being a measure of success. They look at agencies or any other external partners, we call them partners more now, looking at external partners as capabilities to get the most from. And that is amazing. And you know what? Why that's changed? It's down to procurement. I don't think media directors have had some revelation and they thought, you know what, I need procurement to support me better. I don't think media directors, I mean, we've talked about the role of a media director evolving. Their role has changed because the marketplace has changed. I don't think media directors generally have driven a change in procurement. I think procurement have driven that change, and they've made themselves good business partners to the business. And all credit to you, all of you that are doing that or have done that over you know, the recent 5 years, let's say. The best media procurement are as knowledgeable about media as the media director. You know, they may have got to it from a very different path. You know, they may not have been marketers, they may not have been on agencies, they may not have been in the media landscape, but they are hungry for knowledge. Like I find that there's more appetite for learning on the media procurement side than there is on the media director side. Which is really good. And so the best ones are as knowledgeable as their media partners, and they partner with those media directors. That's the good thing. They can be a peer-to-peer relationship. They see themselves often as being in service to the business. You know, media procurement, you find, you know, great ones are very humble. They don't see themselves as rock stars. They want the marketers to be the rock stars. I remember we had one client a little while ago who said, we're the roadies, they're the rock stars, which I quite like that analogy. So there's a humility and a pragmatism to media procurement that is really important in that conversation. And they don't get distracted by the shiny thing. Yeah. They keep the focus on the business. They keep the focus on the growth. And they hold up a mirror often, don't they, to good marketers. They hold up a mirror and avoid them being distracted and challenge them to keep looking after the company's money. So it's been a really good journey, focusing on capabilities, looking at not just price but quality. You know, have much more value lever metrics, cost and quality, really important part of the new language. And an interesting area, an observation that we've kind of seen is, you know, where there are governance challenges, particularly around digital media, that it's really procurement that's taken the lead more often than not in things like, you know, securing quality inventory, brand safety, tackling ad fraud. Some of these like giant, big, meaty challenges that we talk about as an industry, procurement is really stepping into those and actually owning those. And I think that makes a lot of sense. We've been really pleased to see that. It takes a bit of pressure off the media director to be the expert on all of these things as well. So a lot of change. So that's the journey they've been on, and credit to, you know, all of you that have contributed to that, because I think we've hopefully all feeling that the role of marketing, media procurement particularly, has changed a lot. We've got great inputs from some superstar media procurement, if there is such a thing, that there are some real rock star media procurement people out there. And we've asked for their tips and tricks for success. So you've had a nice time trying to kind of distill those down. What are your recommendations?
I've enjoyed it actually, because I mean, apart from the fact that really good media procurement leaders are, in my opinion, some of the best practitioners of media in the marketplace. And from all of the kind of feedback that we received when we shared our fairly flimsy questions to them, I think 3 or 4 key themes came through, and you've mentioned 1 or 2 of them, but I just want to kind of elaborate a little bit further. The first is market knowledge. the really, really good ones are as lucid and as up to date in terms of market dynamics and conditions as any media director you could possibly find. And that's a powerful combination. When you've got a media director that is at the top of his or her game and a procurement person that knows just about as much of media as they do, that's a fairly formidable combination, but in a positive and a powerful way. So those that succeed are deeply curious about media and not intimidated by the complexities of it, but they actually lean in to the insights and the opportunities of it. So thirst and market knowledge is the first one. The second is alignment, a perfectly seamless alignment with their marketing and media peers. Yeah. And that comes from a vision, you know, having participated in defining what the media vision is for that company and aligning behind that transformational journey that they're going to go on together, again, is a symbol and a behavior of the really, really powerful ones. And often, you know, it can be as simple as talking to their media or marketing counterpart and asking what their goals are and making sure that their personal and professional goals are linked together, pointing them in the same direction.
Yeah.
The second one. The third one, which I love, is they challenge the status quo, right? They won't rest on their laurels. They're looking for a sense of continuous improvement, whether that's through, as you say, the governance of digital media, the protocols with which they engage and manage their agency partners. But there is this progressive improvement that they are constantly looking for. They're not going to be they're not going to get lazy. They're always looking for something better with which to bring to their organization, again, to fuel this growth agenda. And then the final thing, which is an obvious thing, and we've talked a lot about this ones, the really good ones, they foster partnerships. They don't treat their suppliers like suppliers. They treat them as partners within a journey where they're perfectly aligned on the same kind of goals. So the really good procurement people set the tone and often the agenda by which their agency partners work. Because if their behaviors are progressive, inclusive, fair, then the agency know that they're working with a really good client. So those are the four things that I've kind of teased out from, you know, the brilliant insights that have come through. And actually, I think we're going to try and pull those all together into an op-ed piece or some kind of blog post, because there's a lot of really, really rich content and wonderful insight that we've received from the procurement leaders out there.
Yeah. And just real clarity. And they're kind of saying similar things and articulating really well. I like it. There are some books out there that need to be written about this kind of stuff, because it's, you know, procurement's been a bit of an enigma, hasn't it, in media? It's been hard for lots of people to kind of understand the role they're going to play, both sometimes themselves, sometimes what the marketer expects of them, certainly from you know, the landscape agencies and others. I think if we could sum it up in one word, the thing that comes out through all of this is it's like a curiosity.
Yeah.
Not that media procurement is a curiosity. Maybe it was in the past, but I think it's just driven by curiosity. I love that. There's not one lever. We talk about procurement as being like this kind of blunt lever, right, of driving down costs. But now there's this driven curiosity, both to be a really well-educated media professional, first off, but to be just constantly curious and looking for ways to do things better. And it's such a helpful resource. I think as a marketer, I mean, you were a media director a long time, you know, and maybe you didn't have procurement in that kind of, you know, role, but to have somebody constantly looking at the way that we're working, the way that we're investing money, new opportunities that there might be being provoked with innovation, you know, having someone with a curiosity in the business that allows you to focus much more on the strategic and the relationships and things like that. I think it's just so good. We'd love to hear, I mean, we could talk about media procurement for hours and days. Hopefully we've kind of done justice to some of that, because it's been really interesting just to see the journeys that people have been on in recent years. And we're seeing success come from it. Businesses finding new growth and success because of that role.
Yeah, of course we can't have a media snack episode talking about procurement without without talking a little bit, or at least mentioning Project Spring, right? And the WFA, because that was a brilliant piece of work. And if anything, when I was kind of looking through the comments that the procurement leaders shared with me, it just resonated with everything that the WFA had brought together in that very comprehensive report, which talks about the future of media procurement.
Yeah, that's the manifesto. So if you work in procurement, you work in marketing procurement, and you haven't read Project Spring, we'll link to it. We've done a couple of episodes about it. We even awarded Project Spring Person of the Year, if that's such a possible thing, but just because we thought it was so impactful last year. Very good. We'd love your comments on this. I think everybody in the industry has touched media procurement at some point. You've probably got mixed experiences. Please comment or send us your comments, and do keep them coming. You make the show better by prompting us. So leave a comment down below. Send us questions. Any question that you'd like us to cover on a future show. And if you like this episode, please just give it a thumbs up or share it with others. It just helps more people find the channel. But that's all for this week. See you next time.
Bye for now.
Media Snack is brought to you each week by ID Comms, the award-winning growth consultancy specializing in media. We help advertisers on a life cycle to growth in 3 service areas: operations, partnerships, and optimization, that transform your media investments into real company growth. Whether you're planning an agency pitch, upgrading your media organization, want to learn new best practice, or simply get better performance from your media investments, you can find out more at idcomms.com/growth.